What Texas buyers love most about moving to Louisiana. Have you ever wondered what happens after people actually make the move to Northwest Louisiana? I can tell you what they don't do. They don't call me 6 months later and say, "Jen, I can't believe you talked us into this." Instead, it's usually quite the opposite. They'll send me a text and I'll run into them, or they'll tell me, "You were right, we really love it here." So today I thought I'd share some of the things that I hear over and over again from Texas families after they've made the move to Northwest Louisiana. Hey, I'm Jen Gamble and I am a local realtor here in Northwest Louisiana, and I've called this area home for almost 40 years. I make these videos to help people who are thinking about moving here understand what it's really like to live in the Shreveport-Bossier area, not just home tours. Not just what you can find on Google, but the things you only learn from living here and helping families relocate here. If that's the kind of information that you're looking for, I'd love to have you subscribe. All right, let's get into it. One of the first things people tell me is, "I finally feel like I can breathe." And they're not talking about the weather, and we will get to that in a minute. They're talking about life. They don't feel like they're rushing everywhere anymore. They're not spending hours sitting in traffic. They're not constantly trying to beat the next rush hour. Life just feels a little less stressful. And honestly, that's probably one of the biggest compliments that I hear about living here. Another thing people absolutely love is the amount of space they have, not just inside of their house, but outside too. Bigger backyards, room for the kids to play, space for the dogs to run, maybe even enough room for a pool someday. And it's funny because people will tell me they didn't realize how much they wanted a little extra space until they actually had it. Now, let's talk about something that surprises almost everyone: how friendly the people are. I'll hear things like, "Our neighbors brought us cookies." "The people next door introduced themselves." "Someone waved at me while I was walking and I didn't even know them." And I kind of laugh because after living here for almost 40 years, those things really do seem really normal. But when you've lived somewhere that feels a little more fast-paced, those small moments really do stand out. And one thing that I hear all the time is how convenient everything feels. You can get just about anywhere in 20 to 25 minutes. No need to run to Target. No need to spend an hour planning how you're going to get there and get back because of traffic. You want to meet friends for dinner or take the kids to practice? Most days it is just easy. And I think a lot of us who've lived here forever actually take that for granted. But people who move here notice it almost immediately. Now, I know this next one might sound a little funny, but people love having money left over at the end of the month. And seriously, when your mortgage payment is lower and your property taxes are often lower and your overall cost of living feels more manageable, it creates options. So maybe that means traveling more. Maybe it means putting more money into savings. Maybe it means finally having room in the budget for things that you've been putting off or that you've always wanted. Whatever that looks like for each family, it's something people really appreciate. Now, I do have to address the elephant in the room. Yes, it's hot here. I'm sweating right now. I know. I grew up here. Trust me, I am fully aware. August is not exactly the month where you're excited to sit outside in the middle of the afternoon. But here's what's funny. Almost nobody brings that up after they've been here for a while. Instead, they're busy enjoying football season, the spring festivals, boating on many lakes, walking outside in February, and spending time outdoors during months when a lot of the country is actually still covered in snow. So every place has its trade-offs. This just happens to be ours, the heat. Something else people tell me they love is how easy it is to build relationships here. Whether it's getting to know your neighbors, finding a church family, meeting people through your kids' schools, or just becoming part of the community, people tend to feel connected pretty quickly. And I think that's something that's becoming harder to find. One of my favorite comments came from a family who told me, "It just feels like home." And honestly, I don't think there's a better compliment than that. Now, does that mean that Northwest Louisiana is the perfect place for everyone? Of course not. Every family is different. That's why I always spend time learning what's important to my clients before we ever start looking at houses. Because the right neighborhood for one family may not be the right fit for another. And that's okay. My job isn't to convince you to move here. My job is to help you figure out if this is the right place for you. So if you're considering a move to Northwest Louisiana, my advice is this: don't just compare houses, compare lifestyles. Think about how you want everyday life to feel, because at the end of the day, that's really what you're choosing. If you're thinking about relocating here, I would love to help. Whether you're moving next month or you're just starting to do your research, feel free to reach out. My phone number, email, and all of my contact information are just down below. And if you've already made the move to Louisiana, I would love to hear from you too. Leave me a comment and tell me what surprised you the most after you moved here. I think it'll be really helpful for people who are just starting this journey. And in my next video, we are going to talk about one of the biggest financial benefits of owning a home in Louisiana, the Homestead Exemption. If you've never heard of it, or you're wondering how much money it can actually save you, you're definitely going to want to watch that one. I'll see you in the next video.